Hey everyone, it's Prince of Asphodel again. I am back with my main series of Guide to Dailies, and today we're doing a guide to Grim and Barret. It's a quest in the harbor. Sorry it took me a while to get back to these, by the way. Look, we can go ahead and call this Season 2. Actually, it's funny I say that because the upcoming dailies that I'm going to talk about, that I love to run, Grim and Barret, Memoirs, Good Intentions, they're all run as dailies for a slightly different reason than the quests we've covered before. I was a little reluctant to make a guide on these just because I was thinking, well, these aren't as difficult as the ones before. If a new player tries to run Chamber of Rayum, or Spies in the House, or even, Von 4 Haywire Foundry, there's a good chance they won't know how to finish it, or it'll take way longer than it needs to just because they're so unintuitive. And that's the point of the first 5. They're worth so much XP because it's so difficult to figure them out at first. And they're good XP per minute because once you do figure them out, well, you can get through them quite easily. The few in order that I'm going to talk about in these few next episodes, starting with this one, they're good XP per minute for a different reason. They're actually a much higher level, and they're just simple. They're simple to get through. So it's a little bit of the opposite of the last ones, which are lower level but tricky to get through. So you see where I was going with this is that I didn't feel the guides were the most necessary thing in the world, but there still might be some tips and tricks for these that not everyone will know. Some ways to get optional XP, some places where there are breakables to get extra XP, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm standing outside the exit to the quest. The gatekeeper who gives the quest is right here, Mogar Drim. So when someone says, hey, we're doing Grim and Barret, type in Grim right here, they mean here, in the harbor, right by this fountain. Talk to the half-orc in green. Here is Grim. Alright, this is part of the Devil's Chain where Sulamati shows up in all of them. Gonna be a lot of Abishai in this one. They have a lot of immunities to a bunch of different elements. So if you can't strip the immunity of your main element, these might be a little tough. But it's very repetitive. All of the enemies are in small groups, like that one. It's just group after group. There's only a few sections where they're split up in ways that make it a little trickier. I'll point those out when we get there. Pretty straightforward up until this point. Here we see a little fork in the road. Nothing of value is that way. We do eventually want to go that way, but we have to get through that portal. So we go this way. Down the ramp. Here's going to be our first mini-boss. It's an Orthon. He's an orange name, so he's susceptible to crowd control if you can land it on him. You want to free this bear. He's Barret, the namesake of the quest. He's the one with the ability to break open those doors that we saw back there. So here's a chest here, but also there's a chest here. Now it's locked. You're going to need to pick it. But perhaps more importantly, this is an optional. You just need to talk to the half-orc. Just like that, free XP. So if you're the trapper who can see secret doors, and maybe even open lock, you can split off, let the party go the main way, and then you stick around and get them that extra XP, and that would be using everyone's time effectively. Now here we have to tell Barret to open the door. If we had not found Barret first, we would not have been able to get through there. Perfect. Up ahead we'll find 2 of our only traps in this quest. There's a bunch of breakables here. If you're ranged or a caster, you can get them, but what happens if your melee is, see they come out of the wall here, they could chop you up if your reflexes aren't high enough. So we're going to search them out. There's 2 of them. So if you're not the trapper and are waiting to go get those breakables, make sure you wait for them to get both of the trap boxes. The second one is deep in here. That's where the blade would come. And here behind these boxes is Grim. More optional experience. See, and not everyone has to go that way. Like I've been saying, one person can be in charge of getting the optionals, and if you see someone already working on them, especially if they're a trapper and you're not, it's probably more advantageous to just keep going and zerging through the main quest, and then that way you finish faster and they get the optional XP still. Everyone wins. This part can be a little tricky if you're a little newer to the game, don't have the greatest gear. It's because of the way they split up when you get here. Some of them are ranged, so they stay back. Some of them go through the plants, so it's hard to see how many there are, especially when you do it on harder elites. See, and if you go too far this way, you aggro this group, which you don't have to. We will, because we're running this as a daily. This also gets run in High Reaper, and where optional experience doesn't matter, you're just after the Reaper experience. You would never go this way unless you mess up. But here, if you talk to Wolf, you get more XP. So for us leveling, that's all fine and dandy. For the most part, it's very straightforward, and usually the detours lead to optionals anyway. This is definitely a fan-favorite quest. Alright, here's a group of breakables on this side of the wall, and there will be one on the other side of the wall through the door. So as long as you don't miss those, you should end up with Ransack. See, one of the Abishai even broke most of them for me. Can't get any easier. Ransack. There's a shrine over there, if you need it. And here is the end fight. Now, if you go too deep in here, close to the boss, the door will lock, and lock anyone who's out there, out of the end fight. So unless you're pretty confident you can solo it, I would say don't be too hasty, wait for more people to go through the door. Preferably everyone. This is what the boss fight looks like. It's that dude, and once he gets low enough, he animates the bushes, which are also annoying and immune to a lot of crowd control. He's also a caster, and his firestorms hit pretty hard. There's one right now. Speak of the devil. And when he dies, the bushes die. So if he's close to being dead, don't prioritize the bushes. Just beat him down. They'll go away. Got it. From here, you can recall, but this is one of the quests where Dimension Door is a quicker exit. Just try not to put it too close to the chest. Actually, that was a bad example, because if someone's running to the chest, they might accidentally click the Dimension Door. But, here we are. Quick and easy, guys. That was Grim and Barret. See you for the next episode.